as has been said, that this issue is very emotive, but CS, the issues that are being raised are very similar. The issue of overlap of mandates, the issue of resting, including issues of procurement to the county, and the issue of accountability. But honorable members, I also don't want us to just load it to the CS, because you also have a responsibility. As members of this House, you have the powers of appropriation. You cannot tell the CS not to implement when you've already given money. So honorable members, it is a shared responsibility. So allow us to allow the CS to respond. If there will be something that is totally not answered, then we will follow it up. But I would hope that Honorable CS, with these responses on these major broad issues, you'll have covered the issues that have been raised by the members.
Thank you. Madam Speaker, I completely agree with you, because I think the issues are basically common. And starting with why some counties have implemented zero is because is not because there's no allocation. You can see there is allocation, but either they have not even prepared proposals or they have not implemented anything. So we must just call it for what it is, that generally there are challenges around that space. In terms of whether we need standalone law, my view is no. Because Public Finance Management Act is very detailed. By the way, before we came up with the Public Finance Management Act after the Constitution was enacted, we had several laws, so many of them handling or dealing with public finance, and they were causing confusion, some of them contradicting each other. So what we decided to do was to collapse all the public finance management laws into one. That's why we have Public Finance Management Act. And we can generate regulations out of it, including this one, which would now give details. So if there is insufficiency or there is an inadequacy in the regulations, we can work on the regulations. Whether there is collaboration between counties, yes, the answer is actually we have a lot of collaboration, and you find even in the committees that I mentioned, there are national government officials. And
who are you informing, Honorable Kamket? We can let the CS to finish, then we... Yes, let the CS finish. Just let the CS finish, because he has quite some...
Thank you. Thank you. So there is collaboration. You look at the committees, the county governments and the national governments are supposed to be working together. As to whether they are effective and efficient, those committees, that is another question. The Honorable Oundo was asking why Garissa has received zero. It's not that we have not made transfers to Garissa. It is about implementation. And we have mentioned here a number of reasons why some counties have failed to implement. Whether I referred to some members here as characters, I don't think I did so. I talked about some characters whom I saw moving around. I don't know whether they were members of parliament, but there were some characters. And as to whether there is any dishonesty, I don't think there is any dishonesty. We have never shied away from saying that Homa Bay has all along been marginalized. From 1963. Actually, we probably got our independence in 2023 when Ruto became president. That is when, actually, I will tell you, I've been in this parliament from 2007 for 15 years, and a road that connects two counties passing through my constituency, all the way from Beta, Sindo, Magunga to Suri, has been awarded severally. Contractors go on site without even doing an inch of tarmac road. Now, if President Ruto has done 28 kilometers of that road and it is tarmac, and then you tell me that it is dishonest, it cannot be. And you can entertain yourself, you can enjoy yourself. But again, if you are visiting an area with area MP and you take 7 hours before you are allowed to access, an MP to access his constituency, you should know you are moving around with the wrong person. How can an area MP be blocked from reaching his constituency for 7 hours, Madam Speaker?
Honorable Cabinet Secretary.
For 7 hours.
Order.
By his constituents.
Honorable.
And then you still think that that is someone who can help you.
Honorable CS, I would beseech you, don't get to the politics.
No, I was actually talking about marginalization.
Yeah.
Madam,
Come back to marginalization.
And you know, marginalization, when people who have been marginalized for years feel that they're now being considered and you still want to bring them confusion, they get very angry because they have really suffered for years and without seeing any development. Now, when they start seeing development, then you start bringing issues to them. They will block you even with their hands because they are not happy. So that is not really politics, Madam Speaker. It's actually the reality. But let me respond to other issues. Yeah, let me move to the other question. Decisions made by national government, yet implementation is by the counties. As a matter of fact, initially, I stated in my initial response, we started implementing the projects directly. But then, based on the decision of 2019 by the High Court, which threw us back now that the county government must implement equalization fund projects. Now we are to look for a way of obeying and respecting the court order. But I have indicated, Madam Speaker, that I am going to ask for the Attorney General to seek a review of this so that we can have a better implementation of these projects. And implementing functions which are not county functions, again, the Constitution speaks to the county functions, but at the same time, the same Constitution speaks to areas where you can apply the funds, which includes education and is not restricting it to early childhood education. So then, if money is sent as conditional grant, it can be applied even in high school education, which again is a function of national government. But the law allows us, the county government and national government, to concur and agree on implementation and collaborate. If there is a will, always there will be a way. But I think the bottom line, the gist of this issue, the concern that we have is the administration of this fund, is the management, the implementation of projects. I think it is something that my ministry has taken up and we are looking at. Honorable Loyangapuo, I think you know Lochakapuo, you know I'm used to Loyangapuo, the presidential candidate. Maybe I'm wishing you to be one soon. Lochakapuo, in terms of NGCDF, thank you.
Order, the Honorable Lochakapong.
Lochakapong.
Or Lochaks, if you wish.
So if I'm allowed, I can abbreviate it as Lochaks. So Honorable Lochaks, in terms of NGCDF, yes, it has been the policy now of the National Treasury that we will be releasing NGCDF as a checkoff. Every month, we will be releasing a portion of CDF funds based on the budget so that by the end of the financial year, we complete, because we know the value and the contribution that NGCDF has to our economic development in terms of spurring rural economy and growth. So up to now, we have released up to the month of August, so I don't have a date. NGAF, we will not be releasing monthly. NGAF, we will be releasing in full. So I will tell you, in the next 2 weeks or so, you will have your full allocation. So that is that. Then on, the counties don't generate projects. Actually, the projects come from the project identification and implementation committees. On duplication of projects or resources on projects, that is possible. You know, we live in this country. And sometimes even some of the roads that Kera does, again, you find counties or vice versa reporting on the same. It is what one could just call theft of public funds. And these are cases that we should identify and deal with. They are unacceptable, whichever way. The relationship between governors and Equalization Fund, the relationship should be just to the extent that the fund is helping them solve or provide services to their people. It should not be beyond that. And then procurement, there is no way procurement can come back to the national government if we don't sort out the question of the High Court decision of 2019. Honorable Kainan, I can't agree more. We must look at the holistic approach to this. And as to whether I can stop the theft of public funds, we can work on this together. And this House is, again, has a responsibility to oversight. But again, National Treasury, I have a responsibility. And discontinuing the fund is a bit difficult because it's a constitutional provision. And I'm actually required by law to make that provision. So it may be difficult. I don't have a discretion. I don't have that space to you exercise discretion on supplying this or making provision for this fund. Of course, the leader of majority defining what projects that can be funded. We actually have a checklist which we issue to counties on what projects can be included in the Equalization Fund funding. And we usually follow that checklist. That is why you see there are proposals and then the approvals. The approvals are usually less than what have been proposed. But, Mr. Speaker, as I go back to sit, I want to state that this fund is still facing a lot of challenges, which we are working to resolve, some of which may require major decisions like how do we implement the projects? Should it continue to be implemented at the counties or we do it directly as national government? Thank you.